Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Seeing some people pop in here, adding a few more. Happy Tuesday. Is everyone having a good day? Good start to the week so far? Surely somebody can come off mute. There's Lauren. Hey, Lauren. Dawn says she's having a good day. Awesome. Letting a few more people in here. All right. Well, we have an exciting speaker today. I'm so excited for Ashley to speak to us, but just want to give you guys a few little announcements because we've been able to nail down a few things happening. So we are having, I know we've kind of teased it about it a little bit, but we are going to be having an all women's block party for several women's organizations at Pantheon. And so the opening night at the actual hotel where Pantheon is happening, we're going to be having a block party, partnering with women in HVAC, women in pipes and plumbing, women in roofing. And so we are all going to be together. We've got some exciting themes happening with some surprise events and stuff. So more details to come, but I know registration is open for Pantheon. And then if you are still on the fence about it, this party should be your tipping point to you should come. Okay, so we'll be hearing lots more about that happening up and coming soon, but that'll be first night of Pantheon. So make sure, yeah, Jessica has a code. So if you haven't registered, make sure to use that. Super exciting. But I mentioned it earlier. I'm so excited for Ashley. And Ashley, I got to know as an actual client of Lemon Seed. And from the very beginning, I was always just very impressed with her mindset and how she approached problems and thinking through things and stuff. And I've gotten to know her over the past year, and she's definitely a leader making big moves in the plumbing space. And she's a Texan. So y'all know she speaks to my heart. I just think all the Texans are the best. I know I've got a lot of y'all non-Texans on here, but um, Ashley is the co-founder and general manager of Plumbing Outfitters, a fast-growing plumbing company recognized by the Longhorn 100. A Central Texas native and former trauma nurse, Ashley transitioned from healthcare to business ownership with her husband Warren, bringing her heart for service and systems thinking with her. She's a licensed journeyman plumber and master plumber candidate. Ashley is passionate about developing leaders and building a values-driven company culture. She believes leadership begins at home, and she applies the same intentionality to her faith, marriage, and parenting as she does to her business. She's a mom of five, a Spartan trifecta earner, and a devoted Christian. Ashley lives by the motto, start where you are, give yourself grace, never stop moving forward. Her story is one of grit, growth, and wholehearted leadership on the job and in the home and everywhere in between. So I know she is going to share all those things. It's going to be super applicable to lots of us here. And so, Ashley, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thanks, Emily. I'm super happy to see all of you guys and be here with y'all.
Well, I will turn it over to you and let you take it away.
All right. Thanks, Emily. All right. Let me see if I can get this. Here we go. All right. Well, hello, everyone. So nice to see all of y'all, and thanks for having me today. Before we dive into anything deep and transformative, let me just give you a real picture of where I'm at right now. And these are some of the things we're going to talk about. There's discussion points that we're going to hopefully hit. But again, where we're the raw truth of where we are right now. So our house is currently destroyed by a water leak, which is, as a plumber, feels like God's little way of keeping me humble. The irony is definitely not lost on me. My kids are living their absolute best summer life, rotating between grandma's, auntie shopping trips, sleepovers that I didn't even approve of in advance. And I no longer have really any clue whether or not we actually have sunscreen in the house anymore. So additionally, we're smack dab in the middle of a massive leadership transition at work. And I haven't had a pedicure in months. I will save you the photo imagery on that one. So flip-flops are definitely off the table for the summer so far. But I saw this the other day, and this is like the meme I literally put on my, oh, it's not going to show up. Oh no, this picture was everything. There was a little picture of a girl, and it said, it said something along the lines of like, don't ask me how I do it all. I don't, right? Their chaos is everywhere, laundry's piling up, and someone just peed in the garden. And I actually posted to my Facebook, and I was like, this is me, except garden should be replaced with church parking lot. Because yes, that's a true story. My daughter actually peed in the church parking lot just like a week ago. So that all to say, I'm not standing here as some perfectly balanced authority on life or how to have a work life balance. But I am showing up as a woman who is determined to have it all. Right. I want to have a thriving business. I want to have a strong marriage. I want to be present in my family life. I want to have a body that doesn't feel like it's falling apart, and I want to have a faith that fuels everything. Because let's be honest, right? If we gain success, but we lose our health or our family or our faith in the process, then really what was the point of everything? So let me give you a little background on Plumbing Outfitters. Plumbing Outfitters was founded in 2017 with no business degree, no clear map, and honestly, really no idea where it would take us. What we did have was a longing, right? A longing to build something meaningful, a legacy that was worth passing down, and really a belief that we could use skilled trades as a segue to influence hearts. But we didn't become unapologetically who we are overnight. There was a lot of blurry days, bumpy seasons, and really big questions. But every day that we pushed through, we gained more clarity on the business we wanted to build and the leaders that we were becoming in the process. So what started as a one-man truck in 2017, I was answering calls while also breastfeeding our third kid. Warren was running calls in between doing all the dad things that he left his steady job at a prior plumbing company to do. And today we've grown to 9 service vans on the road. We have 2 dedicated project crews, 27 team members, a company really powered by A players, all very much grounded in a mission and core values that we actually live out, right? It's not just things on the wall, but we really do try to live them out. And then, more than anything, I feel like our foundation is definitely built on faith. We're guided by faith. We pray at our company huddles. Our business coach is faith-based. That's Dan Dowdy with Built for the Trades. We honor Sundays as set apart time for families to worship. We give all glory to God, and we really appreciate our G-rated culture where family environment is modeled and expected. So some milestones. You can see here in 2019 is when we first made our first hire. And then in 2020, we hit our first $1 million revenue mark. 2022 was a massive growth year for us. We built our shop. We hired our business coach. And then we just really had our first leadership team that we developed. And then in 2024, we won a really prestigious award, the Longhorn 100 Award, for being one of the fastest growing Longhorn led businesses. I graduated at UT Austin, so one of the fastest growing Longhorn businesses. And then we also went through this rebrand, which was really transformational. And then here we are now in 2025, which I'd say, is very much still being written. So as you can see, we worked, really shoulder to shoulder. We built systems from scratch, hustled through. We were in it. But like every real journey, it definitely wasn't a straight line. Like you see in this milestone slide. This was probably more accurately a description, kind of a depiction of what our journey looked like, right? There were seasons where I felt like I was finally gaining momentum, and then boom, I was in the thick of pregnancy or growing a human, right? Completely zapped of energy or focus and wondering if I was falling behind. But I will just say this, there's nothing more on purpose than pouring into a season that God gave you. And I don't regret any of those slower times. I think those are God's gift to us, right? To just slow down and enjoy the slow times. But other seasons, the challenge wasn't necessarily physical. It was maybe emotional. People I poured into that left the organization, or team members that I thought would be with us forever that decided to move on. And I had to, learn not to take that personally. And that was also really hard for me. The point being is that life happens and it comes at you at such a rapid pace. Sometimes it can feel like you're in an impact zone on a relentless beach, just wave over wave. And if we aren't careful, we just start losing ourselves in the grind and the hustle and the grit. And I'd say that the biggest growth came when I stopped looking out there, right? And I really started looking in here, doing a lot of self-reflection. And I really feel like the truth is the fastest way, I believe, to scale your business is to scale your self-awareness. So I had to face some really, hard questions in the mirror. And some of those, I'll be honest, I didn't exactly like the answers to. Am I showing up with intention in every area of my life? Was I doing the small things consistently that nobody sees, but everyone feels? Were my priorities truly aligned, or just what I said they were? one of the biggest ones is this sustainable? Like, is this pace that we're going at sustainable? And what does the version of Ashley 5 years from now want me to know? What would I be telling myself if I could talk to my, if I could 5 years, the 5 year more mature person could talk to me. And so that's kind of, when the thought hit me, right? What's the point? What's the point of building something great if I'm falling apart inside? And that was a really big question for me. What's the point of achieving something at the cost of everything? So I really feel like what shifted for me in a really positive way, and really started getting my mindset right to what kind of leader I wanted to show up to be. So, we build SOPs for our business, but my question for you today is, like, do we build rhythms for our soul? And what does it look like when you're leading yourself well? Because you really can't show up to lead others until you've first shown up and led yourself. And so what does it look like when you're on that trajectory versus when you're not? So for me, when I'm leading myself well, I spend time in quiet reflection, right? And prayer, inviting God into the day before I let anyone else get a piece of me. It also looks like journaling, like with honesty, not performance, just being real, what I'm feeling, where I'm growing, those kind of things. It also looks like fueling my body, right, with food that gives me clarity and energy, not just comfort. It looks like moving my body every day, not for punishment, but because I'm grateful for what it can do. Um, Also just speaking gently to myself and noticing the tone in my head and refusing to be my own bully, right? Celebrating small wins instead of obsessing what's not done. And then also just making sure that I stay off my phone in the margins, right? Guarding those moments that usually get lost in the day to day, or when I get home with my kids. So what I've learned is really this, is that I'm such a better leader for my team and my family when I keep the commitments that I make to myself first, because it's really not about perfection. It's about consistency reps. So it's,
Jasmine Heating and Cooling. This is Amanda.
oh, hi, Amanda. I have a plan. I'm just kidding. Because, every time that, these consistency reps are something that's really cool, right? Every time that I show up for that early morning journal session, every time that I choose food that fuels me, every time I close the laptop, and stay present at dinner and don't bring work home for me, those aren't the small things. Those are reps that I'm building.
Can you hear me?
And they're reps that, whether personal or professional, like, they're forming character and they're building leadership.
Okay, great.
And
Let
it's
me try
also
something. I
awesome
think my
just to
headset is being funny here a moment. Do you mind holding just one moment?
Amanda, I think it's
Thank you.
connected to the Lady Titan Zoom. Let me see if we can. Okay.
it's totally fine. I mean, she is a good CSR though. Do you hear that tone and that voice? Like, I feel so at ease right now just listening to her.
All right. I think we got her muted.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but those aren't small things, right? Those are reps. And they really are what builds us and what gives us the fortitude we need to take those personal reps and push them into our professional life. So just remember that every rep you take, when you're trying to build this version of yourself, it gets you one step closer to that version. All right, but let's talk about, like, the messy middle. This is kind of like, this is my, and you can go back to, like, my saying on life, right? Start where you are, and just keep moving forward. But let's talk about the middle, because it's always the messiest part. That's the part of the journey where you're not who you used to be, but you're not quite where you want to be either. So that's where I've been lately, like with my health, for instance. So a while back, I made a just pretty quiet promise to myself that I wanted to feel like, what I felt on the inside, confident and strong and present, to actually show up on the outside too. And not for the number on the scale or to look a certain way, but because I just wanted to feel like my whole self, aligned and honest with who I was. So since then, like, I've lost 40 pounds and I still have plenty more to go, but I've also gained a lot, more energy, more confidence, and honestly, just more grace for myself. And I'm definitely still in the messy middle of this, because some days I don't track all my food, or I don't drink all the water that I should. I don't check all the boxes. But some days, I do everything that I'm supposed to do, right? And I feel great about it. I put those reps in. Again, other days I don't. I show up to the party and I eat the queso and I move on with my life. But that doesn't mean that I failed. It means I'm figuring it out and I'm learning balance and I'm giving myself grace in that messy middle where that transformation takes place. So I'm not sharing this because I think it's the most important part about me. I share it because it's one of those areas that where I've had to practice what I preach, right? Leading myself well, even when it's not polished, it's not perfect. We're still in the messy middle. But that's like where we really start to become who we're meant to be, little by little, right? Not those straight lines, but that messy curve of lines that showed in that prior picture. So let's move on to some practical tools because that's what I was really excited to share with you guys today. In business, we're always talking about clarity, vision, mission, values, but for some reason, this for me especially, it didn't always transfer over into our personal life. We kind of forgot to apply some of the best principles to the most important organization that we'll ever lead, right? And that's our sphere of influence, whether that be our friends, our family, our home life, whatever that looks like for us. We kind of forget to apply it personally. So one of the best things that we've ever done as a family is to sit down and write out our family vision, our mission, our core values. And it gave us a language kind of to use words to describe who we are, what we're about, and how we make decisions and what guides us. So even when things get messy or hard, they're always there, right? As guiding lights, kind of to get us back to our foundation. So these are the things that we have on our walls at home. Our vision for our family is to rise above. Our mission is we wake every morning to love the Lord, love each other, pursue our purpose with courage, and give generously. And then our core values, as you can see, they spell out our last name Stroud, with each letter meaning something. So it really gives our kids a framework, and it reminds us, who we are, who we say we want to be. And having a shared family vision has helped us make decisions faster. It's been handled just conflicts better, keep our priorities in line, especially in all the chaos that comes from running, a business and raising a group of feral children, like I do at my house. So for instance, I want to show you this next board. We actually created a Trello board for our family. It's not fancy, but it's super helpful. So we keep notes on here, agendas, things we're tracking, kid goals or rewards, family SOPs, if you will, even reminders like, check the pizza oven for bird's nest before the party. Things that, we just don't want to forget about. This has been amazing for us just to keep one place where everything in our family is kind of stored. Never even really occurred to me to use Trello for this, but once we leaned into it and started putting everything on here, we had a lot of fun with it. You can see there's quite a bit of cards on here, and I'm happy to share the template with anybody who would like it. But we just have a lot of different cards with things that are resources for our family. So, but the next is possibly my favorite that we've implemented, and this is like 15-minute quick check-ins every week with my husband. So we sit down with a prompt, like you can see on here, right? What made you feel most loved by me this week? Or is there anything I did or said that this week that hurt or frustrated you? And we keep notes while we're doing this kind of like exercise. We take notes of each other's answers so that we can look back at it through the week, and we can just remind ourselves of what that other person needs from us and how we can show up intentionally for them. So, and yes, this was all from ChatGPT. You can ask it to give you 52 marriage check-in prompts, and you can have all this at your disposal. It sounds simple, but really and truly that 15 minutes, it often can clear up tension. It can just bring us back to center. And it reminds us that we're on the same team, because if you're out there and you are married to your business partner, then you know exactly what it's like to negotiate payroll and parenting in the same 5-minute conversation, or go on a date night and argue about marketing strategies. Life can really start feeling like one big staff meeting. And this one tool really helped us just firm up our marriage foundation and, just give us something to go back to every week where we connected as husband and wife instead of business partners. I'm just a firm believer that when your foundation is strong, right, you show up way better in all other areas of life. So the next tool that we've implemented in our family that's really helped us is a weekly agenda. So for plumbing outfitters, we have we have like an MSM called Manager Success Meeting. We have it every week without fail. We don't move this meeting. It doesn't get changed. We don't move it for anything. It's there, rain or shine, whoever's out. If it's one person, they sit down, they go through the agenda, right? But we're very adamant that we don't move this meeting because we know how much it gives us clarity and direction for the week. And so we implemented this for our own family. So every Friday before we kind of launch into a family frenzy of movies and pizza and popcorn, we have a little team huddle. We go over like our agenda, as you can see here. And then we talk about things like, what went well? What are we working on? Any upcoming schedule things that we need to be made aware of? Anything we're feeling stuck on? It's generally short, less than 30 minutes or so. We have 3-year-olds, so you can imagine just how chaotic these meetings can get, but we also include them, make sure they feel included. But it gives our kids a voice, gives them buy-in to the family and what we're trying to accomplish. And even if everything else is falling apart that week, if everything else falls apart, that 30 minutes just helps keeps us connected as a family. So like I said, it can end up silly. Usually we end with a dance party or we write out like a ad lib story, something to keep it fun and light. But the kids really love it and it's been pretty transformational. So yeah, so the last thing I wanted to say is this is just another tool that I've used personally and I really can't stress this part enough, is that whatever you're working on right now, whatever messy middle you are in right now, find an accountability partner. This has definitely been transformational for me. So you got to find your tribe of people who will help hold you accountable and lift you up even when you're struggling. So on the left, this is and y'all don't judge me on how many unread messages I have. If y'all saw my mailbox, I'd probably get like shunned out of here. But on the left, this is my one of our dispatcher, Amy. Her and I have been doing an accountability check-in since August 1st. And so like literally every night without fail in the evening time, we send each other a screenshot of our MyFitnessPal diary. And if one of us falls off the bandwagon for a couple of days, I mean, we're knocking on each other's hey, where's your screenshot? What are you doing? Are you tracking? Are you staying true to like what you'd set out to do? So that's been really helpful. And then I'm also part of the Built for the Trades community. There's some mastermind groups that we've created there, and this is like our fit group. So there's like 13 people in this group. It's kind of like a board to post your stats for what you did that day, right? Here's my workout. Here's whatever I accomplished. And you just get a lot of encouragement, right? It's like your cheerleading squad to keep you going. And then you just start, wanting to put that on there. And if you don't, you feel guilty about it. So I'm not saying that you need to copy like my systems exactly. Maybe these won't work for you, or maybe you can think of something better that will work. But what I am saying is don't leave like your best tools at work, bring them home, because the people in your home deserve just as much clarity, peace, and presence as your team does. And you're included in that, right? Like you deserve that type of intentionality in your personal life as you bring to the business. All right. So, mostly I kind of just had this like thought that I wanted to share with you. If there's one thing I kind of would love for you to walk away with, and I've had some really cool moments in the last, I guess about a month or so that have really made me feel this way, but you don't like, the world is going to say a lot of things. They're going to say that you don't have that you, whatever, you have to choose. You have to choose between being a powerhouse or a present mom. You have to choose between scaling your company or staying grounded in like your core values and your vision. You have to be strong, you have to be soft. You have to be disciplined or full of grace. You have to lead a team or decide to lead yourself. You have to hustle or have peace. And I feel like this is a super limiting belief that we all have, right? You don't have to choose. I think that you don't have to trade your peace for progress. I think that you can have a lot of these things together. And I would say that even though the world tells us it's either or, I just firmly believe that that's a lie, that the best leaders will work on themselves to become all of these things, little by little, even in the messy middles, like we will work to become all of these things, and it's quite capable. So here's my challenge kind of to you Lady Titans is this week, don't chase just a better to-do list, chase a better way of being. And make sure to celebrate those small wins, because you're not just building something for others to follow. You're you're really becoming something worth following. So that's my kind of encouragement. And I honestly thought this was going to last a lot longer, Emily. So hopefully you have something to do for the next little bit. I'm happy to answer questions too.
No, I love this. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them into the chat and we can ask Ashley. But Ashley, so many good notes that I was taking, like so many things that like I'd never just thought about. Like I've never thought of making core values for your family, but like when you did, it's like that's so applicable. Like, why didn't I ever think about that before? You know, and just like how you said, like your family still deserves just as much intentionality and clarity, even like how, you know, and I think that goes to show like why you created those prompts for you and your husband to go through and like for your kids and stuff. So like, and the same principles of how we have to set expectations and provide clarity and give good direction. Like we need to do that too with our family. And so like I love that. I've never thought about making core values for your family. Um, but I also know like just how much your own company core values mean to you just in going through your rebrand process. Like I know that was one thing is like I really wanted to exemplify our core values and like we go over this every single week, if not daily and stuff. So why don't you tell us a little bit? I know it's champs, but tell me what the how you're building champs and how you exemplify the champs lifestyle in your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and it was definitely something that we were pretty adamant about keeping with our rebrand that you guys had to work with us through is we just really weren't wanting to give those up. Because they become such an identity part of who we are, what we do, and how we talk about ourselves that it felt like losing that would be kind of a pillar, a foundational pillar removed. So, champs, I love obviously I love acronyms. You can tell like it's got to make sense on an acronym. So CHAMP stands for character, humility, accountability, mindfulness, precision, and service. So when you're really a core value driven company, it's like you literally fire and you hire based on those core values. The first thing we do in any interview is we decide whether or not this person is a core value fit. And if they don't meet that, then like the conversation can't even continue, right? Like that has to be there. And in a lot of times, even in our pretty much every disciplinary, like if we have a PIP or if we have a disciplinary thing come up, which is really rare, we have a great culture, an amazing group of people on our team. But when it does come up, like the leading conversation is this is the core value that you missed, right? It's either precision, right? Like you've had a lot of callbacks. This is a precision issue, and this is a core value of who we are. We are precise in our craft. Or if it's like a tardiness issue, okay, the core value that you're not upholding within our company is accountability, right? Like we need you here, and you're not being very accountable to what you agree to do. So we try to bring that into every aspect and use it as a coaching tool. It's also talked about at every single meeting. We have like a champ award every quarter. That's it's almost like a employee of the quarter, but it's voted by the company, so they have to be nominated by their peers for displaying and going above and beyond our core values. So a few people that have won the awards have been people that have technicians that have stopped on the side of the road to help change a tire, or somebody agreeing to come in on a Saturday to help somebody throw in a water heater, on their day off, kind of thing, just going above and beyond either in teamwork or one of our core values. So yeah, it's absolutely, it's built into all of our interview questions, and we really try to live by it. It guides everything we do. There's a saying, right, that like your vision is where you're going, and your mission is how you plan on getting there, but your core values are the guardrails that help keep you aligned and help you guide your decision making. And I think once you do that consistently, things just become easier. It doesn't have to be an emotional decision. It doesn't have to be you don't have to think about it. It's just, is it a yes or no for your core values? So.
No, I mean 100%. And then like if you're willing to let people slide on some of those things of, hey, it's okay that you're late. Like I know you're trying hard, but like why is that a core value? Like if that's kind of negotiable. And so it also just helps keep you aligned, give you those guardrails to stay on course to help you do your mission and meet your vision and stuff. So I love that. Lauren had a question. Did you always do the structured family meeting? How did your kids respond to starting this practice? Lauren has older kids ranging from 13 to 19, and would love to know how to incorporate this without getting the eye rolls and the heavy thighs.
Yeah. So no, we actually only started this in the last, I think we started about probably at the beginning of the year. So we're only about 6 months into it. Our oldest was only 12 when we started it. So a little bit younger than that. I mean, he's still a preteen and still all the sass and all the hormones and, just rolling eyes already starting. But, we really tried to, I think it just depends on how you frame it and how you present it. For the younger kids, like they just kind of follow in step, but we did take the time to explain to our older ones, like, and we talk about leadership so much in our home. It's like a conversation that we have all the time about how we become really great leaders and what a void in this culture, in this world that we're living in, that we need great leaders to emerge. And so our kids know how passionate we are about leadership. And so with us, it's a lot about like, hey, we want to hear your voice. We want to, make sure that we're meeting all of your needs. We want you guys to have a time where you have our undevoted attention, where business is not, encroaching on us. And it's just like you have our entire, this is your time, right? For us all to get aligned, for us all to make sure that we're moving in the same direction. And just so that they, for our son too, like we told him, like, look, we do this at our work because this is how we build great leaders at work, is having consistency, and having systems in place that help everybody get alignment and clarity and vision. And so, that's probably how I would take it with an older child, especially if somebody who like saw us building a business is just, this is next level leadership they won't get from the world always. They might not learn this at school. They might not learn this in college, right? And so also, like, my son is already like, "Eh, Mom, I want to lead the next family meeting, like, can I lead it, and we're like, yeah, sure, of course you can, so I would also kind of lean into that, just giving them the opportunity to, be like, hey, you look like you look like you could do this, like, why don't you lead the next meeting for us, just to get a little extra buy-in. But again, probably not an authority on that because I don't have that, like, 14, 16, 19-year olds that may meet with a little bit more criticism and not nearly as much enthusiasm. So but so far it's worked out pretty well. And I think our kids also just assumed that this was going to be like a fad, right? Like we were going to do it for one time and then we are going to stop. Because I have been known to do that in the past, right? Like, let's try this for now. But with consistency, it's just like we do it. And now it's just expected every Friday we do it. And if we're out of town, we'll skip if we're out of town or something like that. But otherwise, if we're home, like it's being done. So
Well, and I'll piggyback on that. I was reading in a leadership book, like, it takes probably at least 7 times for, employees to realize, like, hey, we're actually going to do this at this company, that it's not just a flavor of the month. Like you said,
right.
like, we're going to do this and then we're just going to change. So, like, I think even with your kids, what it was challenging as a leader is like, hey, no, it's going to take probably at least 7 times. So, like, hey, I've told them 3 times, they're still rolling their eyes. They're still like, why are we doing this? Da da da. Okay, I've only got 4 more to go. Like, even kind of shifting that framework of like, oh my gosh, like, why can't they just don't roll your eyes, just attend the family meeting and don't say anything, or whatever it
Yeah.
might be. Okay, I've only got 4 more to go. Like, kind of even shifting that mindset a little bit.
Yeah.
It helped me shift it at work and training people and implementing new things and stuff. But like you said, it's got to start with us and being consistent and willing to be in it for the long haul, and not just hey, we're gonna do this real quick and then like it's gonna fly to the wayside until the next thing comes along. um,
Right. Yeah. I feel like consistency is key. And then also just like structure the agenda to kind of like speak to their hearts. Like, we always do like a core values shout out. So we'll take notes throughout the week of like, hey, we noticed you doing this, like displaying one of our core, our family core values, right? Like if one of the kids had something that was going to be somewhat possibly, they would possibly be afraid of, or they had to show a lot of courage to overcome something, like doing a recitation at school or performing in a play or singing on stage or something, we'll shout that out as like, this was a core value demonstration, right? Like you were super dauntless in this feat. And so like we try to pull out things throughout the week, keep it on a shared note with my husband of like, hey, I saw the kids doing this, right? They displayed open heartedness here to one of their friends, or and so they love that, like they love getting called out. And it's just like, especially because I don't know, maybe I'm the one that struggles with it, but I have a tendency to focus on the negatives and constantly discipline and constantly be like, hey, you need to stop this, you need to stop that, you need to do this better. And maybe my kids don't always get that positive reinforcement. So maybe they're just super craved for it. And Friday nights, they get a heavy dose of it. So they really do love that. Like they love getting that, like, we noticed you're doing a great job here. And it's just helped us to kind of see all the great things that they're doing too, and not undervalue those moments that they're really shining. So
No, I love that. So Ashley, I'm curious. So like, I know you mentioned like a business coach and stuff, but even before, like you said, your background in nursing and stuff, like, was it ever the dream to be in leadership or to be a business owner? It kind of just came out of left field a little bit, or was there that
yeah.
was the goal?
Yeah, I feel, I guess I wouldn't say it came out of left field. Like I've always been naturally drawn to leadership roles. I mean, in high school, I was literally the captain or the president of pretty much anything I was a part of. So I wouldn't say that it just came out of left field. Like I've always been called to like be a servant leader. And I love seeing potential in people. Like I love seeing people and being like, whoa, if this was just like, if they had some support here or some refinement here or some building up here, some coaching here, like what could they become and what kind of impact would that have on their life, and ripple effect. So I've always been really drawn to, I guess, that aspect of it, just leadership development and helping others develop. And then nursing, I feel like it was kind of checked off a few of my boxes, right? I did ER nursing, so super high pace, high adrenaline. There's always something new to juggle, something new to figure out. And it really played onto my adrenaline junkie side. And I also got to help people, right? And really, touch people's hearts and their lives, and feel like I came to work every day and made an impact. And so I think that was what I was most afraid of leaving, was just, I always came home feeling like, hey, I made an impact in someone's life today. There was never a day I went to the ER where I didn't leave feeling that way. And so that was kind of a scary, like, man, am I going to have that same platform to really come home at the end of every day and be fulfilled that like I touched someone's life in a positive way and left some sort of, impact on them. And yeah, I mean, I definitely have like I still feel like I get all of that and more, just using this company as a platform to help others and to, pour into people. So yeah, I don't think it was like a very, like, it was not planned out. This was not the goal. Even when we started the company, we didn't know for sure whether or not we wanted to scale it. It wasn't like hey, this is our starting here and we are going to scale at, this pace. And by 3 years in, we're going to, and at 5 years, we're going to gear up to sell. Like that was never in the works. It all just kind of happened organically. And, I just firmly believe like God just continues to open doors in the ways that he wants us to go. And so we just kind of walk through them. And so that's kind of what it feels like. It's just a journey we've been on, but we didn't get a lot of clarity until around 2022, when we got really intentional with looking into the future and figuring out what kind of business we wanted to build and what kind of impact we wanted to have.
So, like, I know a lot of the women on this call, are want to be growing in their leadership and taking on more, and they might be at a certain level, but like want to move up to the next level and stuff. And so, you mentioned you'd always been, in leadership roles, like as a kid and president of the club or whatever. But do you feel like it is something that can be learned and can grow into, even if you don't naturally feel like a leader, or like you have that natural knack, it can be grown and developed through different resources?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that everyone is born with maybe a measure of leadership, but that is not the full potential of what anybody can become. And I've seen it in our personal business, just people that we've worked with in other people's lives. But yeah, I would say that's kind of what, I guess, like the heart of kind of what I presented today was a lot about. There's a book called How to Lead When You're Not in Charge, right? And it's a lot, and we give this to apprentices. Like we every year we'll do like a class with apprentices. It's like, you should be a leader even when you're not in charge, right? Like even when you don't have a title, because leadership is not a title, it's influence. And so, we do every time we have a seminar, we have like a group meeting with our company, we always ask the question, raise your hand if you're a leader here. And until everybody in the room raises their hands, we don't move on, right? Like you have to believe that you are a leader. Like you start by leading yourself. That's where you start. And then you just build on it, right? And by leading yourself, that means that you're doing those reps, those consistency reps. Are you showing up? Are you showing up for yourself? Are you keeping the commitments that you make to yourself? Are you being true to your word? Are you in alignment with who you are? Right? Those are like the building blocks. And once you have those, then it exponentially grows, because people will follow those that are comfortable in alignment with themselves and have that influence. So I absolutely think it can be cultivated. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if I didn't believe that leadership can be cultivated, and that every person has the potential to grow exponentially in their leadership.
No, that's so good. Well, if anyone else has a question, feel free to drop it down in the chat. But I had one more thought, and it really stuck out with me. You said like so often the world kind of says like we have to be like either or, like it has to be this or this. But a phrase that I've kind of learned and trying to adapt is like you've got to be good intention, like the tension of the
Mm,
discipline, but the grace, the saving money but being okay to spend money, like you, so how to be good in that tension to kind of push and pull, and not living in such of the extremes in kind of any area of your life, even good habits and good disciplines can be have a negative effect if you're living too far in that extreme. So how to learn to be good in that tension with that push
yeah.
and pull and not live in that 100% this, 100% that. It's either or that discipline. So I really like that you shared that and how I think you're kind of living in a similar mindset there too.
Yeah, it's like just moderation, like find the balance in life. And I just remember so vividly, like early on, in those like earlier years, I would work, 50, I was 60, 70 hours a week. Like it would never turn off. And like people would laugh and be like, you're gonna burn out. And I'm like, I am not gonna burn out. Like I live for this. Like I can keep this pace forever, and like trying to tell me that I needed to find balance, I probably just laugh at them and be like, I'm good. Like I can live on this extreme cliff, right, for a long time, and keep up pace. But the reality though is that like when I started thinking about that, it's like my influence was growing. And like, did I want to replicate that in people, right? Like, do I want my children to be like that, that extreme? Because whatever we're doing, like we're replicating ourselves. And I really didn't. Like I wanted people to have a balanced approach, and I saw that in our managers, right? Like now, we don't let our managers like go a year without taking PTO, right? Like there's no cashing out your PTO if you're a manager here. You're taking that time off. Like you are going to get away from this company and you're going to get clarity and you're going to get a break that you need, because we want them to stick around and we don't want them to burn out. So yeah, I think that like just finding that balance, and the tension, that's a great imagery there. Like the tension is really good. So I like it.
Well, Ashley, thank you for your time. And I know you have just such a servant's heart and have really grown your company, growing your personal life and your family's life, and investing into those people in your company, but your children also. So, if anyone wanted to connect with you, maybe reach out, maybe ask a question that they didn't feel comfortable to ask here, how could someone get in touch with you?
Yeah, I have a Calendly link I'm happy to put in the chat. Would that work?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll also put my email too, just in case if it's just a quick email, I'll put my email there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today and sharing. I know just some new ideas for me to think about. And I know a lot of the Lady Titans said, not alone, and kind of some of your thinking, they think that way too. And like, how can they implement some of these things? So thank you for taking the time and sharing that with us today.
Yeah.
A few things up and coming. We hope you guys will join us back for the Lady Titans Lounge on July 9th. So this was our spotlight series where we have a speaker like Ashley that's going to pour in some value, but the lounge is a lot more unscripted, low key, to where if you just have a question, I don't know how to do this, or I'm struggling with this, picking the brains of the Lady Titans is a great way to do that. It's a very safe, unrecorded, unscripted space. So that's on July 9th. And then our next Spotlight series is July 15th with Jackie Abell. She is the podcast host of Toolbox for the Trades. She's going to be talking about personal branding and networking and connecting. And so it's going to be another fantastic series. So we hope to see you guys back in July. So thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you, Lady Titans. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Talk later.